Hello, and welcome to the Pulse of Jonesboro. I am Jeremy Terrell, and I am your host, and thanks for tuning in. Guys, we are going to talk a little bit more about what I have brought up in earlier episodes, and that is kind of where we're going as a community, as a city, and what is being allowed. I talked about how we are, on the ledge or fence or whatever you want to call it, and we can go one way or another. And what are we doing to make sure that we don't fall off the cliff? We got to get away from the cliff, and we continue to just do things that get us closer and closer and closer. I feel like we have a toe over the cliff currently right now, and I believe that if we continue to go down the road that we're going to have, both feet hanging over, dangling, and then eventually fall off. And one of those things that really concerns me is that we continue to allow people to build low-income housing. And this is a bad situation. And this doesn't say anything about people that are, in that category, but towns can only sustain so much. And that means, a mixture of those that are in or around or underneath the poverty level, and those that are blue collar workers, and then and on up. And we cannot sustain the direction that we're going, and it's very concerning. We have a toe hanging off, and this cliff that I've talked about, and we soon are going to be sitting down, dangling our feet off, and have, both feet off. And what follows that is completely fall off the cliff. It is a big concern. What keeps happening, some of the things that we keep doing is we continue to just feed it. The continuation of building low-income housing, because that's what's selling, I guess. I'm not 100% sure why we continue to allow this, but it is what's happening. We continue to do this, and it's very concerning. In the early episodes, you heard me talk about how we are, 22%, 22% at the poverty level as a city. And we are like 26% right at or just above that poverty level. And that gets us, to 50-something percent that are either at or below poverty level in Jonesboro. That's unsustainable. And then the mayor talking about how he wants 20,000 more people to come. You guys have heard me say this. We don't have 20,000 more jobs. Who are we going to bring in? Now, don't get me wrong. Some of that's happening anyways. I mean, you have people fleeing, West Memphis and Blytheville and other things because they want to get away. They want to get away from what has happened there. And we're just catering to the same thing in some aspects. The problem is we're much bigger than what they ever were. I mean, not West Memphis, but we're bigger, but it's a different problem, and it'll be exacerbated. It'll be even greater because we'll have, a massive amount. I mean, if you bring in 20,000 more people that we don't have jobs for, you're going to bring in people at the poverty level. And what does that say? I mean, you want to have a town that we're currently at 50 something, low 50s. And you want to bring in more, and that's going to push us to 60%. I mean, that's just crazy. Maybe 70%. Think about that for just a minute. That is unsustainable. And what does a town look like when you have 60%, 70% at or below poverty level? No, nobody wants that. Not even the poverty level wants that. They know where they came from, and we have to stop. we need to do a moratorium on low income housing and apartments. We have to stop that right now. And if it means we don't grow for a while, then we don't grow for a while. But we can't continue to allow what is happening. And people on the city council and people within the city not doing their homework and understanding how bad this is and will be if we continue to go down this road. It's so crazy. Uh, you know, they I don't get it. I don't get it. Somebody comes to them or they read something where they say, build trails and you have a safer community, put up lighting and you have safer community and things like that. Well, yeah, that may be when the community is that, when the community is a trail community and a, outdoor community and things like that. And we, not to say that we don't have some of that here, and we do, but we also have challenges that a lot of other areas don't, that we have to meet, mosquitoes and heat and things like that other places don't have to meet. And we act like that doesn't happen or isn't the thing. And then we act like we don't have a set amount of crime. We don't have a set amount of, poverty level. We don't have a set amount of slumlords and things like that. We don't have a set amount of all of these things that they act like that doesn't even exist. So that let's just put up more lighting. Well, I can tell you, the beat down that happened several weeks ago downtown, everything was lit up. I mean, everything. It didn't deter any of that. It may actually have made it worse in some aspects, but it didn't deter anything. And, to say that there's more lighting, let's light up Creth. It just goes to the block over. And people that comment on this stuff, they don't look at all of the other things that we need to look at in order to make educated decisions. So they say, hey, to bring crime down, let's put up more lights. Well, if you have people here that are committing crime, you don't think that they don't adjust? You don't think that they don't move to areas that don't have lighting? Yeah, that road or that place that you put more lighting on may stop some of the crime on that street. It doesn't stop the crime in the city. And the way that our city is looking at these numbers is kind of elementary. You guys have heard me talk about this tons and tons and tons and tons, but the way that our schools go, the directions that our school goes is going to directly affect the way that our town goes. And nobody's addressing these situations. Nobody. We have slumlords where buildings are falling apart and yet they rent them out for several $100s a month because they can, and nobody's holding them accountable. Well, number one, if you care about poverty, if you care about people that are in that realm, why in the world would you allow that? One. Two, if you continue to do that and then build more, homes and things like that and not hold slumlords accountable, there's just a lot of different things that we're doing that just promotes more of what we have too much of already. I was talking to a couple of guys yesterday, and they totally get it and see it, and yet, they've gone and talked to people, and they've gone to the city and had these conversations, and it's like it's ignored. The people on the council that vote for every single thing, they really need to put their foot down and say no more. We cannot sustain going in the direction that we're going. It is not sustainable. It's kind of like we've been talking about Medicaid or Medicare or whatever for 20, 30 years, that at some point in time it's going to be broken, but we don't ever change it. And now that it's broken and, in 2030, nobody's going to hit their retirement, be taking care of the older people or whatever. They just keep going down that road. Like, well, when it happens, I guess we'll deal with it then. And then it's too late. And that's what we're doing as a city of Jonesboro. There's a lot of things that we're not tackling because we don't want to. We don't want to bite it off. I don't know. I don't understand it. But we keep going down a road that the majority of people that have any sort of understanding and intelligence of the direction we're going and what that looks like is not good. I heard a story, and I'm not 100% sure whether this story is right or wrong, but, there's some people in town that really are investing a lot of money into Jonesboro and, building stuff and trying to make communities better, and the city's fighting them, all along the way. Our city believes in big government. Those that are running our city believe that they can do more and they know better than you and I know, and that's just not true. When you have a group in town that really wants to invest in our community and has been, to the tune of millions and millions of dollars, you help them. You don't hinder them. And there's a power struggle here in Jonesboro, a massive power struggle. And instead of bringing everybody to the table, they want one group to have all the power and forget the other groups because of whatever reason. I really don't know what the reason is. I mean, I can speculate and say, they don't see eye to eye on certain things. I have no idea. But, there's a lot of power struggles. But all that's doing is hurting Jonesboro. We have a ton of really smart people, and they can't get to a table in order to talk about the problems going on in Jonesboro. And not all of our city council, but a lot of our city council turns a blind eye, and they don't really do their homework or their research to figure out what's really going on and how do we best run our government and the city. And we got to stop signing off on everything. We have to start saying no. We have to. They have to stop, take a look at what's going on, look at the direction we've been going, and stop. Bring people to the table that are doing really big and good things. Talk to them about how we can help them as a city, and get their ideas and their understandings, take real data, numbers, and apply it to the future of Jonesboro. But we don't do that. It's crazy. It really is crazy. And, those on the city council that just rubber stamp everything, I hope you're listening, because it will be on your shoulders. If you don't stop, we really need a moratorium on low-income housing, period. I mean, we can't sustain that. We got a couple of people that are in the finance world that should understand, if we are what I say we are, and that is, around 50% at or below the poverty level, and you're doing things to add more to that, it's on your shoulders that if we look back in 10 years and go, what the heck did we do? I mean, there's several people out there that have been, throwing the warning lights up for a while now. But, because of whatever it is, I don't really know, power hungry people that either turn a blind eye to it, or I'll show you, or I'm not sure what it is, but it's broke. We as Jonesboro, we've always been couple years behind. I mean, Arkansas, it's not just Jonesboro, but Arkansas has been pretty much behind. It's funny, when I was growing up and in my early adulthood, it was always like, hey, we're 4 years behind everything or everybody else in the country. And there's some truth to that. We are somewhere around 4 years behind. And our city is doing things that 4 years ago didn't work. Our schools are doing things that 4 years ago didn't work. But it's 4 years, so let's try it. And I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't. And nobody says anything or does anything about it. We just sit and wait to see what happens. Well, I'm not willing to just sit around and wait. We have to do something. We have to do something now. We have to put the pressure on the people that make the decisions to do what's best for Jonesboro. And, it's what's best for Jonesboro for the people that currently live here. Quit pushing for 20. A matter of fact, stop trying to build Jonesboro into 100,000. We have to stop. We don't have jobs for 20,000 more people. And just because they come doesn't mean they're bringing jobs with them. That's a really bad statement. Really bad. So we need to stop it. So I'm going to kind of go through a quick list, and this is just off my head. This is nothing prepared whatsoever. This is just off the top of my head. Stop promoting 100,000 people. Fix the police department. The men and women that serve us each and every day deserve better. So, and it's starting at the top. Fix it. Fix infrastructure. Get a plan, stick to the plan, and fix our infrastructure. I mean, I don't know what we're doing with the infrastructure. We're building a lot of sidewalks. And I guess maybe if the roads get bad enough, we'll all be walking on them. I don't know. I don't understand. But there's a lot of roads that need fixed, a lot of roads that need repaired. But we're building a ton of sidewalks. So fix the infrastructure. Put a plan together. Quit spending money on things we don't need and start spending money on things we absolutely 100% need. We got to, number one, we got to tighten up what's happening within our city. And, we turn a blind eye to a lot of things, and we got to stop. Got to stop turning a blind eye. I believe that things will happen, and we'll see things that go on within our city that we're all going to be, I'm not going to be shocked, and there'll be a few of us that aren't shocked, but other people will be completely shocked. And, there'll be people saying, I told you so. And then there'll be other people acting like, what? I didn't even know anything about, this. So lots of people have been sounding the warnings on things. And at some point in time, we've just got to move in a direction, and we got to hold people accountable. Our voices have to be a little bit louder to make sure we get the people to do what they are supposed to do. And, we're going to keep doing it here, and we keep growing, and that's great. And hopefully we'll be, with our average is 17,000 hits-ish a month. Hopefully one day we're at 30,000. I think at 30,000, we will have an amazing amount of people that are aware of what's going on. There are some great things going on. I mean, we have some people within our town that really know what it looks like to build in a direction that is beneficial, but they get zero help from the city. And it's concerning to me. It really is concerning. And it's a power trip. because I don't have any other way to. Case in point. So, and if I get this wrong, I apologize to the people that are involved in this, but I don't think I'm wrong. They can get a hold of me and tell me where I'm wrong, and I'll put it on the next episode. But you have the Hergets who want to put in a green space, some outdoor stuff, right, kind of off of downtown. They were met with opposition almost all the way before this started to happen, and when they and here's the opposition. The city wanted to donate. They own a parking lot, and they wanted to donate this parking lot, or maybe they don't own the parking lot. I'm not 100% sure, but off of downtown, on the east side of downtown, there's a parking lot that they own, and they wanted to donate it to St. Bernard's so that St. Bernard's can create a green space and then give it back to the city. And number one, you'd be taking a ton of parking spots away that are used regularly. Two, you're I don't know why you want to insist on doing something like this, where you donate it to a group and then the group does something and then they donate it back to you. It just sounds kind of fishy to me, but whatever. Those that are involved can tell me how it's not fishy, but and that totally contradicts a family or a group or a company that wants to do it on their own and create a space for people in Jonesboro that is the same kind of space, but they want to do it with their money on their property and give back to the community, and you want to fight that. There's something wrong there when that happens. The thinking is wrong as a city. That's backwards. And that's what we have going on today. Those types of things are rampant within our city. It's not about people doing great things. It's about power trips and, to me, a lot of backdoor deals. I can't say it all is backdoor deals. I feel like there's corruption within certain areas, and it's just a bad deal all the way around, the way that I look at it. And I'm not 100% sure how we move past it, other than you and myself and others that are fighting the fight. We need to fight the fight. We've got to do what's best for our city. And in my opinion, number one is we tell our city council to stop signing off on every single building project in Jonesboro that only promotes more poverty. And this may be a touchy subject and people don't want to hit it. And that's why they don't, this isn't something that's public, but it's the truth. It's the truth. So if you want a thriving Jonesboro, you have to make sure what you're doing continues to make it thrive. We need the majority of Jonesboro to be, good, working, blue collar, driven community that gets up in the morning, goes to work, provides service, provides food, provides something to the community and the world, and comes home and enjoys their family and does it all over again. That's who we need to be. And instead, we act like the poverty doesn't exist. One, two, that we're some posh elite, whatever. I don't know that. And we sink the majority of all of our time and effort and money into things that don't better Jonesboro, or only better a small portion of Jonesboro. So we need to do better. We've got to move in a direction that's way better than the direction we're moving. I also want to talk about, and I think I'm going to keep saying this, maybe not every episode, but definitely a lot of episodes. Until uh, until the chief and the mayor address some of the things that have been going on in Jonesboro publicly and say this type of stuff is not acceptable, I'm going to keep coming at them, because things have happened here in Jonesboro. That beat down downtown, which was horrible. I believe it was maybe started out, people mouthing back and forth, and it turned into a beat down, and then it, unfortunately, to me, it looks like it turned into a racial thing as well, and nobody says anything. Maybe that's because when you say race, people want to run or hide or not say anything. But call it a spade, call a spade a spade. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter black, white, Asian. It doesn't matter. But just if it's race driven, white or black, we just need to call it what it is. But then we had an incident in Walmart where it was really bad, in my opinion, where this definitely wasn't race related. It was, people getting in a fight and could care less where they were at and could care less about our community, and just, went full bore on a rant. And we don't say anything. Gun violence is up, which, I've said all the last summer that violence is going up, going in the wrong direction. And, the chief and the mayor said it wasn't. And who's wrong? Not me. I mean, I'm wrong about a lot of things, but I'm not wrong about that. Gun violence is up a lot. Other stuff is up a lot. And, what are they doing about it? I really, there's great people doing great things in Jonesboro, and I don't want to diminish any of those. We see it, people are growing other areas in Jonesboro, and they're doing really good, and we need to support them. We have a church that works with the homeless. They get no support from our city, hardly whatsoever. We have, people building great things like the green space and other things in our community. We have, we're Make-A-Wish Mecca as far as raising money. Our radio stations do a great job. There's lots of things that do really good stuff, and our city needs to be a tool for more of that, not an obstacle. The city's got to do the hard things while the people of Jonesboro do the great, unbelievable things and the amazing things. And we're, in my opinion, we're not doing that. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in. We'll continue to hold everybody accountable. Please like and share this. You heard me say in the last episode that I do want some feedback. Tell me if you guys would like a live once a week, twice a week, maybe every day, maybe a 7 to 8, drive to work, but a live show every day or a couple times a week where maybe we can hear from you guys. Maybe we can talk to people out there and just do a live show. So that's what we're looking at for 2026. One of the many things that we're looking at doing. And, we are, the goal is you may see a lot of the people that have branched off from major networks and things like that and created their own platforms and provide a lot of things. That's the goal of the Pulse, is to make a lot of moves so that we give way more information to the people of Jonesboro. So we love your feedback. Message us or, put it out on the public forum or whatever. But if you guys would like to see a live, everyday kind of conversation where we, you guys can call in and we can talk about certain subjects, please let's do that. And let me know if that would work for you guys. And if so, what time would that be? What would it be? 7 to 8? Would it be the drive home at 5? What does that look like? So appreciate you guys tuning in. Continue to tune in, continue to share, and we will see you soon. Take care.